Hello, friends. How are you? It's me, Christiana Gaudet, live on my YouTube channel for a class where we are going to pump up your cardio. What does that mean? We're going to be working on keywords. We're going to be doing a lot of drills on keywords and how we use keywords. I want to welcome everyone here. If you happen to be watching in replay, that's just great. Leave some comments if you like. Nice to see everyone in the chat. And I want to give a special shout out to the members and to the moderators and to those of you who are both members and moderators. Now, you'll see today I'm working with a weight deck and I'm working with my giant weight just so you'll be able to see it. No, this is for U.S. Games, yes, but not in any way antique. It's the giant one, as you can see. So let's get going. And what we're going to talk about here can really work with any deck. I chose a weight deck with really big images just because I thought those were images that would be familiar with everyone. But you could be using a Crowley deck. You could be using any tarot deck at all. One thing that is interesting, though, when we talk about Crowley and Crowley-inspired decks is they have a single keyword written on the minor arcana cards, right? From 2 to 10, a single keyword. And there are other cards that do that as well. For example, Heaven and Earth Tarot does that. There are also decks like Q&E Tarot that have key phrases written on the cards. So what's the difference there? First of all, if it's key phrases, that's a deck meant for learning. You would never expect to go to a professional tarot reading and find a reader using that deck. But these decks that have a key word written on each card, like a Crowley or a Crowley-inspired deck, that can happen. But here's the thing. Even with a deck that has a single keyword written on it, each card, there are so many more keywords that you're going to want to have for each card. So we're going to talk about this in a couple of ways. First of all, you are always going to find people who say, I don't use keywords. I don't use keywords at all. And my answer to that is, of course you do. You may not call it keywords, but of course you do. And then there are people who want to do like flashcard memorization and memorize all the keywords, and now I know the cards. Yeah, that doesn't work either. When you think about tarot and keywords, here's what you want to think about. Your tarot deck is like 78 friends. Now imagine you went to a party and you met 78 people at that party. Would you remember all their names? No, would you not? You would not. Would you get to know one or two people deeply? Perhaps. But over time, when you meet people and you make friends, you know a little bit more about them each time. And so a keyword is like the first thing you might learn about a new person. They're a plumber, or they're a father, or they like classical music. That first thing you learn about someone. And then you meet them again, you talk to them again, and you learn something else about them, and you learn something else about them. And in your relationship with people, they're always unfolding. There's always something new that you will learn about a person. The same is true with the cards. And I just want to say thank you to Katie Kondo for being here today. Thanks for being a member, and thank you for the super sticker. And we also want to point out that Katie Kondo, there's an interview with Katie Kondo right on the front of this page in my new series, Who Reads Tarot? Katie's my first interview, so definitely check it out. All right, so your understanding of tarot keywords should expand. One thing we talked about yesterday Joyce, I've already started. Well, how can you hear me? Maybe you need to refresh. Can someone tell Joyce to refresh her computer and that I have already started? And she probably needs to refresh. Because I think other people are hearing me, right? And seeing me and all of that. I have indication of that. All right. So if someone could chat that in and let Joyce know. All right. So what do we have? We have whether we call them keywords or not. We learn things about the cards just like we learn about people. And thank you, Sunlight. And what I was talking about in our meetup yesterday at Panera is you should never get static or comfortable in your understanding of a tarot card. Your understanding of every single tarot card should always be growing. Always be growing, always expanding. The relationship you have with a card today is different from the relationship you had with that card a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and is different from the relationship you will have with that card down the road. So just like with people, our relationships are always changing and evolving. Now, there are people who say, well, you don't need keywords if you read intuitively. But the thing is, intuition has to work with something. And yes, you can look at the picture, but even say you look at a picture. Okay, suppose you had never seen this card before and you don't know any keywords. You don't know any keywords for the number 8. You don't know any keywords for swords. You don't know that swords is associated with the element of air, and we have keywords for that. You would just look at this picture and you would talk about it. And you would say, well, I see a person who is tied up. I see a person who is trapped. Well, how is that not a keyword? How is trapped not a keyword for that card? And so whether you say you work with keywords or not, you do. Whether you say you have memorized things or not, you will look at a card and you will find keywords. So let's go with this. Let's be this person who does not know this card. I see a person who is trapped. So then what's the next thing you do? You extrapolate. Okay, if I've pulled this card for myself, how am I trapped? Where am I trapped in my life? Or if I had asked a specific question like, how's my job going? And this card comes up, we might say, okay, you're not feeling free to move around or do what you want to do in your job. Or how is my relationship going? You might look at this image and you might say, it doesn't feel very romantic. It doesn't feel very connected. So whether or not you memorize keywords, you're going to use them. Now, where does the intuition come in? Well, if you come to my live stream readings, which I do very often, and in fact, we had good examples of that this morning for the weekly reading, where the same card will come up in very short succession for 3, 4, 5 people, but I'm going to give a completely different reading. How do I do that? I work with my knowledge of that card with the keywords. I breathe with it and I think about what that person needs to hear. And so, is a reading just a recitation of memorized keywords? Heck no, it's not. A reading is an extrapolation. It's a connection to the universe. But the key words, well, they're called key words. And so they're like a key to help unlock your imagination, your intuition, your connection to spirit that allows you to give the reading. All right. So we're going to work with this in a few different ways. We recognize that each card has associations. Numeric, elemental, astrological, Kabbalistic. I rarely work with astrology and Kabbalah, but if you do, go ahead and share. Now, there's obviously a delay between the time I say something, the time you hear it, and then it comes back to me. So if you want to play along and share some keywords, tag the card you're talking about. Because if you just throw out a keyword without tagging it, the card that we're talking about, or the element or the number, I won't know. I won't know what, well, I might. So let's start, actually. Let me see if I can find one here. Let's start with keywords for aces. There are 4 aces. And at the meetup yesterday, we were helping each other with readings, and a person had received 2 aces. And the person next to me was like, okay, well, aces are new beginnings. Okay, that can we all agree, right, that aces can be new beginnings? But are they always new beginnings? So my first challenge to you is to give me some keywords for aces in general that are not new beginnings. Joyce says new direction. Sure. Okay. I'm still looking for an ace here just to do that. Do I have my aces? Are my aces here? I do not know. There's an ace of pentacles right there. Okay, good. Sunlight, the nucleus. Yes, yes, yes. Origin, essence. Now, okay, so new beginnings, new directions, new journey, seeds, very good. Potential, very good. Conceptions, opportunities, ideas, the nucleus, a fresh outlook. Very good, very good, very good. So now let's look at each element. And again, do tag, because we'll move quickly. Give me keywords for each of the elements. Kyla's, I love that. Aces, opportunity, very good. So we've got air, earth, fire, water. So tag the element and give me keywords. So aces, gift from heaven, beginning, sure. Essence, origin, all of those things. So go ahead and give me tagged keywords for the 4 elements. Choose an element and give me keywords for it. Okay, Joyce, Pentacles, Earth. Okay, Pentacles are Earth, right. So you're telling me the element. Give me the keywords. Okay. Wands, passion and drive. That's fire. Kim, fire, passion. Christina, cups, new relationship. So relationship. Now, okay. What I want to do is separate out from the aces here. So yes, Ace of Cups could be a new relationship, but what about cups in general? What about water in general? Okay, Lisa says water, emotional. Justine, swords, which is air, mentality, mindset, thoughts, communication, absolutely. I would add to that curiosity, trust, or lack thereof. Christina, wands, new action to do something. And again, separate it out from the aces now, just looking at the element. And again, tell me and thank you everyone for participating. You are going right along and I really appreciate it. Tell me the element. So sunlight says water is healing. Sure. I would argue there's healing in all of these, though. Right? I think there can be, but sure. Fire is inspiration. Swords, thoughts, concepts, cognitive. Kyla's cups, emotions. Gina, swords, which of course is air. Communication, thought, all things scientific with respect to discovery in the mind. Yes, indeed. Jenny, this is good. Fire, the desert. Sure. Cups, water, emotions, love. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cups, birth. Sure. So, Christina, Pentacles, grounded. Sure. Valerie, sword. Now, and again, we're looking right now not for the individual card, but just to say the swords in general. But clarity, sure, absolutely. Ben, water, replenishing and nurturing. Yes, yes. So, that's perfect. That's perfect. And so we recognize that the numbers, and this is also true with the ranks of the court. The numbers and the ranks of the court will have keywords, and the suits will have keywords. The elements will have keywords. Okay, so air, thoughts, communication, right? Water is replenishing, nurturing. Air, thoughts, and ideas, absolutely. Pentacles, abundant, sure. Cups, interesting. Lisa, cups, earth, work, really? Do you do that? I mean, you could. There's no wrong answers here. Oh, Claire, now you're here. We need a moderator, please. Okay. Earth, things that are tangible, right? Which element speaks of dreams? Thank you, moderators. Which element speaks of dreams? What a great question. Justine says, I would associate the cups with dreams. What do y'all think? Dreams. I mean, nightmares could certainly be the 9 of Swords. And when you're saying dreams, do you mean sleeping dreams or do you mean aspirations? Let me know. That's an interesting one. And, I would argue that there's crossover, right? So for example, we could see inspiration in both of these, right? We could see nurturance in both of these. We could see emotional healing here. We could see physical healing here. Okay, so sleeping dreams. So there's, and again, there's no right answer. It's however you see it. It's fun to ask the question and to think about it. So Christina likes swords for dreams. Sabrina likes cups for dreams. Sunlight says Pisces rules over dreams, so that would be water, right? Valerie says wands, transformation of energy. I love that. So that's good. Okay, so what we've learned here is that numbers and ranks have keywords, suits have keywords, and that's a way to play. I agree with you on this, Justine. Definitely crossover with the suits. Career drive for wands, but mundane day-to-day work, pentacles, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So now, let's play. First of all, I'm going to ask you to give me the names of some cards. Any cards, major, minor, core, I don't care. Give me the name of a card that you feel like you don't have enough keywords for. One of the things that we get stuck in, this is why I say, never get complacent with your tarot vocabulary. But we do have these cards where they've spoken so poignantly in one particular way in many readings. And so we get to that. Well, whenever I see that card, I always say, or whenever I see that card, I always think. And as soon as we do that, we're all guilty of it. Me too. But as soon as we do that, we are limiting our tarot power. So give me some cards that you don't have enough keywords for. And I see the list coming in. Thank you. We're going to handle those. Claire, could pentacles be about manifesting? You know, certainly if you're manifesting money, you're manifesting a home, you're making something real, absolutely. But if we think about cards of manifestation, the Two of Wands with plans and dreams, very much about manifestation. The Seven of Cups can also be. So I think it shows up in a lot of ways. Okay. Okay, yeah, get me those cards. And I'm going to find some of them, and we are going to play with these cards. The goal here, you know, my stupid pun for the name of this class was really about like pumping up, you know, like I want you to come away from this class not only with the idea that you can expand, but actually with some expanded ideas about certain cards. Okay, so let's see. I am just going through and finding some of the cards that we see here. Sunlight, Justice. This card kept coming up on my daily pull right before jury duty. I still don't get it. Absolutely literal. Absolutely. We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, big time. Big time. Okay, let's see. You know what I wish I had, and I should get my tech people to give me, is like some buttons where I could just pull up the cards on the screen. Wouldn't that be cool? I'll have that. By the time a year has passed, I will have that. Okay, here's Justice. Did I see the Hanged Man? Yep, I saw the Hanged Man. I saw the Eight of Swords. Okay, Three of Wands. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Really appreciate it. We may not get to everyone's card, but I'm going to try to get to as many as we can. And this process that we're going to do, I mean, it's really fun to do it with your friends. But you can do it on your own, too, looking at a card, reading different books or websites and kind of writing them down. The Magician. Someone did say the Magician. I was like, someone's going to say the Magician, but I hadn't seen it. But here's the Magician. Okay. Five of Wands. And I appreciate there's a nice sort of bunch of different things going on here, different cards. And Judgment. Thought I saw Worlds there. Definitely saw the Devil. Okay, I saw the Four of Pentacles. And let's see. Oh, Justine, all the fours are tripping you up. I can talk to you about the fours. I love the fours. Did we get the Tarot? Oh, Hierophant? Yep. Okay. So we're looking for Hierophant and the Tarot, and then the Tarot. Hierophant and the Tower, and then we'll hold there and go through these. This is a good smattering. Okay. Did anyone say Wheel of Fortune? Not that I can see. Okay. All right. Sunlight, I agree with you about this deck. What am I looking for? I am looking for the Hierophant, and then we will call it for a moment and go through these cards. Where's my Hierophant? Did I pull them already? No, I did not. So what's going to happen? Here we go. And I'm going to do these in no particular order because that's how the cards come up. So, oh, There was a Two of Cups reversed, wasn't there? And just Two of Cups in general. And we can talk about reversals too. And there's a question with reversals, and you don't even have to use reversals at all. But there's a question with reversals is, do you come up with like a whole new set of keywords for a reversed card? I think sometimes I de facto do. I don't know that you have to, because it's really just about changing the energy. For me, a reverse card changes the energy. Maybe it's too much or too little. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's a change. It was this, now it's this. Maybe there's a resistance or a force. Too much or too little. All right, so we'll do them in this order. Now, as we talk about them, I'm going to ask you to share your keywords for this card. Tag the card. Tag the card. Tell me what card you're talking about and go. Ha ha, we start with the Tower. I will talk about the Tower and how I see it. You please share your keywords. One of my favorite key phrases for this card is that which is built on a faulty foundation cannot stand. Now, typical keywords for this card: devastation. Gina, no one said Wheel of Fortune. I know, man. I think the Wheel of Fortune should be in there. If we have time, we'll get to it. Tower, breakthrough. I love that. Destruction, unexpected, radical change. Remember to tag your card. Let us know. Destruction, surprise, radical change, enlightening, necessary upheaval. Sunlight, good. Head injuries, unexpected telephone call or communication, destruction of the ego. Liberation, needed change, sudden change, and reversed, personal transformation. Complete teardown and rebuild, surrender, wake the hell up, upheaval. Sure. All of those things. And so, is the Tower always bad? Is it always negative? No. It can be something that needs to come down. It may be a painful process, but the thing that needs to happen. Very often it is the thing that needs to happen. And it can be like when you learn something new and you have to let go of everything you believed about it before because now you have new information. So there that is. Now, a destruction of a fence, right? Breaking something down. So in a relationship, maybe there are walls that needed to come down. Shake up the status quo. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's shake things up. So sunlight. Yeah, absolutely. Kat Black, who talked about how that card came up for her the morning of September 11th. There have been so many writings. Rachel Pollack and Johannes Feiberg wrote a book together, and they talked a lot about the Tower and September 11th. And in fact, back then, we didn't have social media, but we had those lists. And we were all on a group called Tarot List on Yahoo. And we would pull a card in the morning, the majority of people that day, in the morning, first thing in the morning, before 10 of 9 a.m. when it happened, Eastern time, many people pulled the Tower. Absolutely. Epiphany. Now, okay, let's reverse it. Catastrophizing, looking at the worst case scenario. Right. We were talking about this today. When the Tower is reversed, yeah, it can absolutely be, it's not going to be as bad as you think. Or it could be the worst is already over. Like, this is a card I would much rather see reversed. But when we think about the falling Tower is an archetype. It's an archetype that many of us have lived in our lifetime because of September 11th. But the concept of the structure that falls, for one reason or another, is a thing. Personal transformation, absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's move on. 3 of Wands. So this is an interesting one because there's really 2 schools of thought on this card. And back to the Tower, things built on the ego will eventually fall. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sabrina, time to rebuild for the Tower reversed. That's a good one. I like that. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so tag 3 of Wands and tell me what you think about the 3 of Wands. And I will tell you that for me, this card is very often about success. We've got travel and planning. And Justine says between the 2 and the 3 of Wands, it's fuzzy. And so I'll show you how it works for me. Lit Tower, restarting from the basis. Sabrina, 3 of Wands, your ships are coming in. Joyce, 3 of Wands, Lisa, 3 of Wands, waiting. Joyce, 3 of Wands, plan in action. D9, 3 of Wands, progress. Wendy also says progress. Claire, waiting for your ship to come in. And Ben, I had the Tower come up in a reading once and saw it as a fall from grace. Found out later that person had been fired. Right? Right? So let me show you. And remember, there's no right or wrong. What we're trying to do here is expand our own and each other's perspective. But let me show you what I see here as the difference between the 2 and the 3. Here, oh my gosh, I am inspired to do this great thing. Now, I'm going to go in the planning stages of it. And you see what's going on here in the 2, where we've got the whole horizon out. But we're not looking at that. We're looking at a model of the world in our hands. So we're definitely in that place of planning. It's entirely hypothetical. But now it's set in action. So to go from the hypothetical to the actual action. So let's see. 3 of Wands, ship coming in, enlightened, exerting your power forward, clarity, foresight. Having chosen to go forward in the 2, now steering and waiting, watching actively to continue success. So my question to you, is success assured with this card? We're waiting for success. We're hoping for success. Does this card ensure success when you see it? Sometimes. Ever. How much can we see success in this card? Ben sees it as a work in progress. Justine found the timeline helpful. So I will tell you one place I get stuck is I like to see success in this card, and specifically first success. But I think the consensus is that it's not ensured, and that might be one of the things that would be very intuitive, that when you look at it, how you feel about it intuitively, the context of the question, the other cards around it would help you decide whether it was predicting or ensuring success. It wouldn't necessarily. Right direction, but success not guaranteed. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And as we're about halfway through, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Special thanks to our members and moderators. You know who they are because you can see their names in green and blue. I'm not shouting them out just in the interest of time. I'm using as few words as possible, except for what we're trying to do, because we got a lot of cards to get through. Ben, 3 of Wands, supported action with the wand behind. I like that. Hopeful action. Step forward, but the end goal not yet met. The beginning of success. And sunlight, I think it depends on the dignity, reversed or not reversed. 10 points for using the word dignity. I think if it's upright, then the person is exerting their power in the right way. Reversed, not so much. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Arrest before continued endeavors, sure. So reversed, maybe we are not as likely to see success, or we're not doing what we need to do for success, perhaps. Constrained by fear. That's a good one too. I like that. I like that. So we're not going forward the way we should because we're constrained by fear. All right, let's move on. More wands, the 5 of Wands. Tag it 5 of Wands and give me your keywords for the 5 of Wands. Sunlight, I would say 3 of Wands, perhaps putting your eggs in the wrong basket, so to speak. Upright or reversed, or both, or when, or how, or tell me more. Reverse, pause before beginning. 3 of Wands, reverse, back to the drawing board, a need to fine tune. Oh, I like that. I like that. Okay, so tag the 5 of Wands. Reverse, that makes sense, Sunlight. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, struggle. What else? Okay. 5 of Wands, conflict, competition, playful banter. Fighting for something, conflict. So the thing that I think is interesting in this card, and maybe you've seen the meme go around online where the caption is damn tent, like they're trying to put up a tent. Like, what is going on here? Interrupted progress, conflicting interests, brainstorming, scattered energy, competition, disagreement of who the leader is, chaos, no direction. So now, trying to get your point across. So let's think about the number 5. Because if you think about it, all of the 5s have some conflict in it. And I always thought about the number 5 being about conflict. And then I went to my very first tarot conference, and the leader there said, oh, no. Not conflict, expansion. 4 is the comfort zone. 6 is victory. 5 is what happens when you jump out of the comfort zone and before you get to victory. So we're expanding, and expansion is always uncomfortable. The need to stand out and find your voice. 5 of Wands is Saturn in Leo, an ego struggle. Too many chiefs. Could also be a heavy debate. So I think all of these things, and we can see the fire energy in it in so many ways. One of the things, if I'm not sure where I want to go with this card and I'm reading with someone in person, I will, right, expansion is change, exactly. Innovation, that's a good one. If I'm not sure where to go with this card, I will ask the client to look at it and tell me what these people are doing. If they don't know the cards at all, this is a really interesting thing. In this picture, what are the people doing? Here's the things I've heard. They're playing, they're fighting, they're dancing, they're building. It'll usually be one of those. And so I will use that in the reading. That's how I will interpret the card. Whatever they see going on in this picture, what these people are doing. Because it could be playful, it could be creative, it could be a dance, it could be a fight, it could be a building, it could be any of those things. And so the expansion of that, because I was always, when I was a baby tarot reader, I was always about conflict. This is conflict, and this is when you're afraid of conflict. But you're right, it could be a game, it could be a sport, it could be building, it could be any of those things. And so to be open in your own interpretation, even if you're reading for yourself, to ask yourself, how's it feeling to me right now? Is it building? Is it playing? Is it dancing? Is it conflict? What is it and how is it showing up in my life? Because it could be any of those things. This is, we talk about 5 as the number of expansion. This is one of the most expansive cards, and we talk about it as a number of conflict. Well, we could have conflict about all these different things that are very, very different energies. Playing is different than fighting. Competition, friendly versus competition, not friendly. Building together. So many things. Now, Wendy sees the 5 of Wands reversed as finding a solution. I often see it as avoiding the conflict, which is not always the best thing. Like sometimes you need to. But I like that, finding a solution, finding a better way to work together. Maybe deciding not to do the project at all. And Justine, 5 of Wands reversed, a messy creative process going on internally. So here internal, here external. That's beautiful. I love that. So this is such a good example of all the different things that the card could be. And this is what it takes to really work well with the cards, is do not get stuck on, this is always fighting. This is always conflict. This is always building. It's never, always anything. And the more that we know that it could be, the more our intuition will take us to the right answer in the moment. Oh, that's interesting, Ben. Not understanding your role or place in something, right? And here, group infighting, sure. I mean, would you want to be in that workspace? I mean, maybe if you're all working together to create something great, maybe, but maybe not. So it totally depends. It'll depend on what you feel, the context of the question, the other cards that come up around it. So very good. Next, Judgment. Oh my gosh. This was one of my hardest. This was one of the last cards. I was like a professional reader before I really felt comfortable with this card. This has always been a hard card for me. Wendy, thank you. This is helping me so much. Good. That's what we're here to do. It's a workout. So Sunlight says 5 of Wands could be crowding. Sure. Claire, arranging energies. Okay, so let's do Judgment. We've got spiritual enlightenment. What else? What else do you see here? The image, of course, is the image of the Christian rapture. The angel, perhaps Gabriel, blowing the horn, awakening corpses rising out of their coffins to be born in the new day. It's the Judgment Day, very literally. But what does that mean? Reassessing what other people think of you. Awakening to your purpose, coming to a turning point in your life. Judgment reverse came up for me the other day when I asked about my fight with my mom, and I can't think about it ever since. Can you shed any light? Yeah, I can. So the thing about Judgment reversed for me in that context about a fight with your mom is there is shit, excuse me, but here we are. There is shit that you don't have closure to. It's stuff from the past. It's this like ongoing thing. You always do this, or you did this before, and I'm not over it. And so both of you have things that you haven't forgiven the other for. Both of you have things that you don't have closure to. And so it's just still stirred up. And I will tell you that for me, a favorite key word for this is closure. Getting closure to something. Letting the past be the past. Doing it a new way. And so that's the other thing I'd say about an argument is we go round in circles this way always. We need to do it a new way. We need to find a new way. Shedding old beliefs, values, and cleansing. Yes. Projection. A Judgment reversed, not hearing the truth. upright, rebirth, awakening, honest self-assessment, forgiving yourself, sentencing, divine awakening, a call to action. I've been forgiven for the S word. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Yeah. I don't mean to be vulgar. So some other sort of outlying things that I've heard, because we are literally hearing the angel. This can be a card of mediumship, hearing the voice of the angels. I've seen it as a card of advertising. If you're in business, getting the word out, tooting your own horn so people can find you. So a lot of that is contextual, right? Right. Betty, Judgment reminds me of the song by Marina McBride. It's Independence Day, the wife leaving her abusive husband. Yes, absolutely. So Justine, can the world reverse speak to a similar idea of going round and round in circles again, like the definition of insanity? It could, as could the Wheel of Fortune. Absolutely. Okay, so Joyce, you see judgment as a warning. Can you tell us more about that? What are we warning of? Not taking accountability or beating yourself up. Right, Martina McBride. I was thinking that was her name, but I couldn't quite get there. The zombie is calling. Basic, mundane level, mean gossip. Right, can't we just let that die? Do we have to keep bringing that up? Okay, a cleansing. Sure. So Justine, the question is, were you getting screamed at for something you always do? Or does she always scream at you? Okay, so Joyce, you see the horn blowing as a warning of what? Or is it just like contextually, whatever that is? Like, like get out of the way or wake up or pay attention or a call to help. Makes sense. All right. So, the world. Okay, tag it and tell me. The world. What do you see here? And it's interesting because there'll be times you'll be working with the cards, you'll be doing readings, and it's not going to be something you heard in a class. It's not going to be something that, it's not going to be something you read in a book. It's just going to be something that comes to you. And one of the things that came to me with the world is the idea of you don't want to get caught in the minutia. You want to pull back and get the big picture. Yeah, that's a whole class, Betty. Matching up songs with tarot. Absolutely, yes. Of course, we know Frank Kwiatkowski did that specifically with Beatles songs at StarCon last year, and the year before, Marion Kirk did it as well, just with songs in general. It's a good thing. The Dance of Shiva. Okay, and we see nature in the four corners. So the four corners are so interesting. They are the four evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They are the four fixed signs of the zodiac. And of course, therefore, the four elements. And they also show up in the Wheel of Fortune, but in the Wheel of Fortune, they are writing their books. World travel, yes. Completion. Dreams come true. Yes. What about globalism? Whether or not you like globalism, we're all affected by it. The world reversed, mental world or the internal world. So you're in your own world here. Being in flow with the cosmic dance of life. Living in your own reality, that last look before moving on to something new. Completion, closing of a major spiritual lesson. I see it coming up a lot for people who are very international people. People who have lived in more than one country. People who do a lot of world travel. I think someone mentioned world travel for sure. It can also come up around global concerns. COVID was the world reversed, right? World reversed, experiencing something that's not of this world. Ooh, very good. Very good. That's very interesting. Yep, yep. And it could also be not complete. You know, your journey is not complete, which I could also see judgment reverse the same way. Being completely in tune with the universe, goal met. Certainly, certainly. Does it usually denote success? I would see it as a successful completion, absolutely. And you know, there is this thing of you've got it all. You have everything you need. Attainment is a classic key word. So the idea of having in your hands everything that you need. A new start, right. The end of one journey, the beginning of another, absolutely. A journey ending, certainly. So, you know, that it's interesting to think about these two cards together, and they do come, you know, one next to the other. And they both sort of deal with completion to some extent. I guess you should see it this way. They both deal with completion in a certain way, right? Where here we're actually like tying up our affairs, putting closure. And here we're sort of recognizing that it's done well. This is a good one. The world is Saturn. Saturn represents completing your karma, so it's time to die. Reverse, not ready or reluctant to move forward. Yeah, attainment. Absolutely. So in that way, it does feel successful, right? The attainment of your goals. Okay, let's see how many more we can get through. We got 8 minutes left. Let's see what we can do here. The devil. I know a lot of you asked for the devil. So go ahead, tag it and tell me your keywords for the devil. And I will remind you that numerologically, the devil is 6, which connects it to the lovers. Betty, I think you should do a Precious Moments tarot deck. That would be fun. Okay, so tag it. How do you see the devil? And, you know, again, recognizing that it has this really clear connection to the lovers being of the same number. They're both 6, right? 15 and 6. And they're very similar, the same characters. The idea of this spiritual being, right? The angel, the devil. So very similar, but in some ways very different. Okay, so let's see. Indulgence, addiction, toxic people, your shadow side reflected in another person. Obsession, addiction, entanglement, shadow behavior surfacing, temptation, subordination, addiction, materialism, choice to remain in bondage. Addiction, so often, man, so often. This card will come up in a reading and it will be very literally drugs, alcohol, gambling. Absolutely. Feeling trapped in an oppressive situation, being stuck. Selling your soul for something greater. Remaining in your comfort zone. And I do like shadow side, acknowledging your shadow side. Negative, toxic addiction, enslaving yourself. So interesting, Angela. And thank you so much for being here and being a new member. The lovers is about making a choice, but the devil is feeling that you have no choice to make changes. But look at the image. There is a choice here. The chains on the neck are loose. The hands are free. They could walk away anytime. So while there is clearly a choice here, there is still clearly a choice here. We are just not acknowledging it. Giving in to sin unknowingly. Facing your demons. Sure. Temptation. Having the ability to control, but to not realize it. So, the hand signal My understanding is it's a specific blessing, which of course, I mean, it's very Vulcan, right? But before that, I mean, this is an honor to Eliphas Levi, who drew this in the 1500s, although this deck was drawn in 1909. But this is the Levi sabbatic goat, and the hand signal is a specific blessing. A puppet master? Right. We're thinking we can't get out of it. Right. I can't quit smoking. Right. You know, I mean, when you're in that place, you feel like there's no way out. I think that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Abusive relationships, being in abusive relationships. So what happens when you do this? For me, I will see the chains coming off very easily, and it's like putting it in the past. You've gotten out of the abusive relationship. You've quit smoking. You've let go of that way of thinking. What about materialism for the devil as well? Attaching yourself to materialism. What about that as a possibility? Yeah, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. What has been, I think, it originated in the Catholic Church. Yes. Yes, this is this is a tip of the hat to Levi for sure. Manipulation, freedom. So, Wendy, you see it as like it goes covert and becomes manipulative. All right, we got 4 minutes. I think we can get one more in, and that one more is the Four of Pentacles. And I'm going to tell you something that came to me about the fours just a couple of years ago. That, you know, we see the four. Four is a number of stability. And this particular card, of course, we very often see as the miser or selfishness. But if you look at all the fours, we can see boundaries and self-care in all of them. And so it's an interesting thing to do, to look at the fours as cards of self-care. So going back to the devil, and go ahead and go to the Four of Pentacles and tag that one for me. Tell me what you see. Some more stuff about the devil. Political corruption. I love that. Reversed, we are or are going to have the devil's upright keyword realized. We do have the ability to make the change. Bragging. Seeing through the illusion. Okay. So, Four of Pentacles, holding yourself back, security, being conservative, bragging, greedy, selfish, protecting your assets and energy. And, you know, it's so contextual. I was reading for a person in a relationship, and I knew the relationship was kind of abusive and restrictive. And I was reading for the person who I perceived was the abuser. And this came up for how he was in the relationship. Like, he didn't want anyone else to be anywhere near his girl, right? Hoarding, being proud of what we've accomplished so far, being protected by the four elements. Could the Four of Pentacles reversed and the devil reversed be seen in a similar light of releasing inhibitions and breaking through some kind of internal resistance? In a way, sure. And so reversed, it could be about not having enough boundaries, but it could also be about deciding to be generous. Sharing, yeah, controlling. That's the word I was looking for, Joyce. Yes, controlling. So, we are in our last minute. We did not get to all the cards. To those of you who asked for these cards, I have to tell justice. Someone asked about justice being jury duty. Yes, justice can be fairness. It can be balance. It can be doing the right thing, but it can also be literally going to court, signing contracts, dealing with attorneys. So yes, jury duty. And I'll close with a quick story about this card. I was hired to be the psychic entertainment at a gala for the young lawyers section of the Bar Association. So everyone there is an attorney or an attorney spouse. Well, wouldn't you know it? The first 6 people I read for, every person got this card. And I'm like, oh, well, you're a very fair person. You always try to do the right thing. And then suddenly I realized this card has null value in this room because every single person's going to get it because they're all attorneys or married to attorneys. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we'll do it again and we'll work with some of the other cards. To those of you who asked for cards that I didn't get to, I am so sorry. Justine, justice reversed on the right path. I can't shed any light to that. I don't understand it. To me, it would be more like you got screwed or you're not doing the right thing. Do we meet often to do this? Oh, yes, we do. We do 2 classes a month and 1 meetup. And we also do a class just for the members. So yes, we do this often. Please subscribe. And I've got classes up now for December and January. So hit the bells so you'll join us again. I want to say a big, big thank you to everyone for being here. Please do like this video. And if you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. Please hit the bell. Please see what we have coming up. And we also do live stream readings 5 times a week. Tomorrow, I'll be here probably around noon. I don't put those links up until right before, but I'll be here around noon and we'll be doing general readings. So we do a different theme every time. So typically classes in the evening and live stream readings during the day. So I am grateful to all of you. Thanks to the members. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to everyone for being here. And thank you to those who helped out with super chats and super stickers. Really, really, really appreciate it. Once again, like this video. There's still 25 of you here and only 19 likes. What's up with that? Hit like, please. Hey, Wendy, thank you for rejoining. We really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. If you're a member at the sun or star level, go to the community tab and get the link for our Thursday Zoom get together. Hope to see you there. If you're having a hard time finding it, reach out, let me know. I appreciate all of you very much. Thank you so much for playing. Good to see you.